During his recent visit to the Brazilian Grand Prix paddock, held at the iconic Interlagos circuit, Sebastian Vettel once again opened up about the possibility of returning to Formula One in some capacity. The four-time world champion and former Ferrari driver discussed rumors suggesting a potential involvement with Red Bull following the departure of Christian Horner, clarifying that although conversations had taken place in the past, they never led to anything concrete. Sebastian Vettel, who remains one of the most respected figures in modern Formula One, reiterated that he is open to a potential comeback to the top category of world motorsport, but made it clear that it would only happen if the right opportunity were to present itself. Since officially retiring from racing at the end of the 2022 Formula One season, the German driver has devoted most of his time and energy to environmental causes and sustainability projects. Among these, one of the most notable is his Forest Initiative, a campaign designed to raise awareness of biodiversity and environmental preservation, which he also promoted during his visit to Brazil. Even though Sebastian Vettel has been away from active competition for some time, his passion for Formula One remains as strong as ever. He continues to closely follow the sport that defined much of his life, maintaining contact with many of the people still working in the paddock. While in Interlagos, the former Ferrari man took the time to comment on Red Bull's major leadership change, which saw the team part ways with Christian Horner, the man who had been a central figure during the Germans' most successful years, from 2010 to 2013, when he won 4 consecutive world championships. Sebastian Vettel admitted that he had been genuinely surprised by the news of Christian Horner's departure, noting that British motorsport executive had been part of Red Bull since the very beginning and knew every detail of the team's operations better than anyone else. He explained that he had believed everything at Red Bull was stable, but it had clearly changed behind the scenes. Sebastian Vettel also mentioned that he knew Laurent Mekies, Christian Horner's successor, very well, and described him as a fantastic person and a highly capable professional, who had made a strong impression wherever he worked. According to Sebastian Vettel, Laurent Mekies had been an integral part of Red Bull, and always knew exactly what was going on within the team, adding that it would now be interesting to see how the team would evolve under his leadership. His comments naturally reignited speculation about a potential future role for him within Red Bull, but the German driver quickly played down the rumors linking him to a consultancy or advisory position, possibly as a replacement for Helmut Marko. Sebastian Vettel explained that he had heard those rumors himself and had spoken briefly with Marko about them, but emphasized that nothing ever became concrete and that the discussions had never led to anything serious. It is quite clear that for Sebastian Vettel to return to Formula One, he would need something more substantial than a symbolic or secondary position. What would truly appeal to him would be a more technical or developmental role, one that would allow him to directly influence the direction of a team, particularly in areas related to car performance, race operations, or driver development. A position where his experience, intelligence, and understanding of Formula One dynamics could genuinely make a difference. Although Sebastian Vettel continues to maintain a deep emotional connection with the world of Formula One, the German driver does not seem to be in any hurry to return to the paddock. He explained that he felt content with his current life, but admitted that his passion for the sport remained very strong. After his retirement, he had initially thought he would need to completely distance himself from racing and take a step back for a while. Yet he eventually found himself still watching every Grand Prix because his love for Formula One was simply too great to let go. Sebastian Vettel also mentioned that he still knew many of the people working in the paddock, highlighting how closely he remained connected to the F1 community despite his time away from competition. The former Ferrari driver's words once again highlighted just how much Formula One still means to him. Even though he has embraced new personal and environmental projects, it is clear that Sebastian Vettel's passion for racing has never faded. He remains in close contact with several current drivers and team members, including figures like Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Fernando Alonso, and continues to offer advice and share experiences whenever possible. The most intriguing and significant part of his comments over the weekend, however, was his openness to a possible return to the Formula One world. It is important to note that this does not mean returning as a driver behind the wheel of a modern single-seater, but rather taking on a leadership or management role within a team, perhaps as a team principal, technical consultant, or development advisor. Only a few months ago, such an idea seemed far-fetched, as Sebastian Vettel appeared more interested in family life and environmental activism than in returning to the competitive and political environment of Formula One. But time seems to have softened that stance. Sebastian Vettel explained that if, one day, the right opportunity position or perspective were to present itself, he might consider returning to Formula One, adding that only time would tell what the future might bring. His words make it clear that he is not seeking a mere honorary or secondary title within a team structure. What he would require is an ideal situation that allows him to fully express his broad range of skills, both human and technical, which he developed over nearly 2 decades in Formula One. From his early years with Toro Rosso to his dominant seasons at Red Bull and his emotionally charged period at Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel has always stood out for his analytical mindset, his precision in feedback, and his deep understanding of how a team functions from the inside. During his time with Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel came closer than anyone else in the last decade to challenging Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton for the World Championship title. In both 2017 and 2018, Ferrari was competitive enough to fight at the top, with the German often leading the championship during the first half of the season before circumstances turned against him. Despite how those campaigns ended, his commitment and leadership were never questioned. He became a symbol of Ferrari's determination to return to glory, much like Michael Schumacher had been in the early 2000s. Things did not unfold as hoped, but there is no doubt that a figure of his caliber could only bring positive results within any team aiming to open a new chapter. His technical knowledge, combined with his deep understanding of team dynamics and driver psychology, makes him an ideal candidate for a managerial or developmental role. Red Bull is currently undergoing a restructuring phase following the departure of Christian Horner, and the team will likely be looking to redefine its internal organization and long-term vision. But the Italian team, Ferrari, should also seriously consider the possibility of involving Sebastian Vettel in some capacity. He knows the Maranello environment extremely well, understands its pressure, expectations, and traditions, and has always shown immense respect for the brand and its history. Moreover, he is known for his professionalism, methodical approach, and passion, qualities that could prove invaluable for a team still seeking consistency and leadership under high expectations. Ferrari's current driver lineup, with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, represents one of the strongest and most experienced pairings on the grid. Adding a figure like Sebastian Vettel, even in a non-driving role, could provide the team with an extra layer of insight, stability, and motivation. His ability to analyze complex situations, manage high-pressure environments, and inspire those around him could help Ferrari take a decisive step forward in its pursuit of championships. Sebastian Vettel's legacy in Formula One is already immense, but his story in the sport might not be finished yet. Whether as an advisor, team director, or technical consultant, his potential contribution to any team, particularly to Ferrari, could be significant. The German represents the perfect combination of experience, passion, and intelligence that modern Formula One requires. For that reason, if the right circumstances were to arise, his return to the sport would not only make sense but could also bring a wave of renewed enthusiasm among fans who have always admired his values, talent, and sportsmanship.